everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Rose and today we're going to talk about my caladiums. And I'm going to show you an update because I've done a video where I planted these and show you how they grow and how long it took. I've done several videos about the bugs that they've had, but I haven't shown you the ones that are actually doing quite well. So I thought that would be fun. Actually, it was requested several times as well, so finally, here you go. And all the way at the end of this video, I will show you what the plants look like now in July, because this whole video was filmed in May. Let's start with the smallest one, since that's the least interesting. This little guy were the small tiny bulbs that broke off or grew on the side of the big bulbs, and I planted them together here so that I wouldn't lose them, because they were literally like smaller than a centimeter in size. And I mean, they are growing, but as you can see, there's not a lot to them. And they're a little bit boring, but I'm leaving them sit on the shelf here, and I'm hoping that they will continue to grow and grow the bulb so that next time they will be bigger. Do you guys do this? Do you take out the dried up bits? They just annoy me and I always take them out. Anyway, that's this little one. Then here we've got another white queen with possibly, this might be a little autumn beauty bulb because I had several bulbs together in some of the pots. This guy was sitting in the sunlight in my south-facing window, and as you can see, some of the leaves burnt a little bit. So then I moved it behind me here on a little table where it still gets a lot of light, but just not direct sunlight. And actually, I like it now. It's looking a little bit better. It wasn't doing much, but since I started using a different fertilizer, I actually have a lot more growth that I will show you in a moment upstairs as well, because some of them are so big that I'm going to take you upstairs. These are now putting out the new leaves. I didn't know this because I was a total beginner caladium person, but you get the first leaf like this one, and then from that, just like with any other aeroid, basically, I guess, I can't really say that, but with a lot of aeroids, there's a petiolar sheath, and that's where the new leaf comes out, like this one. And I didn't know caladiums did that, but here you can see it as well. Here is a older leaf and then a new leaf coming out in the center, and there's even a tiny one. I don't know if you can see that, but there's a tiny one in there also coming out. Super cute. This one, it's not doing much. I mean, this leaf is beautiful, but it's not doing much. So it's a little bit boring. That's why it was second. The pot is beautiful though. I've gotten some comments on the pot. All my pots are either super simple pots or from a secondhand shop because I like to be cheap. And you can get them for, they'll say €1 per pot, and then you come with 5 and they're like €2. So it's a very good deal. And this one, this is also a white queen from Bulbs and Leaves, one of my original bulbs that I planted. This has done amazingly ever since I started using that fertilizer. I'm still saying it might be spring as well, but I'm definitely seeing a huge increase in the last week in my plants when it's been spring for a little while. And as you can see, there's a lot of new points coming out, which I'm excited about because this pot looked pretty bare until last week. So that's really cool. Again, some of the leaves were burnt by the sun because I left it sitting in my south-facing window. But then I fixed it, I moved it, and the newer leaves look much better. Still a little bit funky with the green parts, but beautiful nonetheless. Look at that. So this is now doing really well. It's sitting behind me right next to my terrarium, so it might even get some light from the terrarium lights. Ooh, this is nice to show you. Here are a lot of new growth points, but this one specifically is still stuck in the little cataphyll. So this is a new leaf coming out. I hope you can see that. Otherwise, I'll put a close-up in. But this is how the first leaf comes out, a little cataphyll thingy. And then the next leaves come out of the petiolar sheath of the previous leaf. The last one I have here that I want to show you is my Autumn Beauty. This is my favorite. I don't want to play favorites, but this is definitely it. Look at those leaves. This is the only caladium that is still sitting in my south-facing window, getting full sun, basically the whole day. and it's doing amazing. I love the difference in leaves. So for example, this leaf is very dark pink red with green spots. It does need some water, I see it's a little bit floppy. But then this one is much more green with the dark green spots. Here on top is a new leaf that's come out recently. Again, with the new fertilizer and spring in combination, it's doing amazing. This one is a little bit older. It's beautifully red with one big green spot here. This one, huge pink, love it, super dark. The less mature leaves look a little bit more like this, as you could have seen in this plant as well. They're pretty similar. So they're green with the pink veins, and then the more mature they become, at least in my care, the more pink they become. This one is a nice example. It's like half green, half pink. A few more here. Huge big one here. And then below, again, there is a ton of new growth, which I am so excited about, because this guy was not doing much for about, I don't know, several weeks. I didn't see any new growth, and then it just exploded. So that's why I think it is the fertilizer. I don't know how well you can see, but there is a lot of new leaves coming out of the petiolar sheaths here. My neighbor is taking his garbage. Sorry for the noise. And then here, I actually have several flowers coming out as well. If you don't know how you can recognize flowers in aroids, this is a tip. Oh, this plant is so big. From my friend Rachel, I want to pronounce it the Dutch way, but Rachel, she is American after all. If you can see the little point coming out, you can usually tell pretty fast with these, and also with alocasia, that it is a leaf. If you're not quite sure and you only see a little point, then it's usually an inflorescence, which is the correct word for flowers in aroids. Over here, you can see one, and then here is another one. You'll see a few more upstairs as well. I guess them flowering means that they are happy. It doesn't necessarily mean that I am happy, because I prefer to have beautiful big leaves rather than a flower and inflorescence. But it's okay. It shows that it is happy in my care. I have recently cut off some of the flowers because I personally was not planning to make seeds with the caladiums. So then the flower growing could take up energy for the plant. There's actually a flower on this one as well. I didn't show you that. One that I didn't cut off. That's it for downstairs. Let's stop touching my hair. Let's move upstairs and look at my last two caladiums. Oh, I forgot. You may notice that one is missing. My Fanny Munson, named Fanny Munster. My favorite one, the one that grew super fast, was the first one to come out and put out these huge big leaves. My neighbor is singing to her kids. It's adorable. They are adorable, but a little bit distracting for me. That bulb I showed you previously in another video where I talked about the bugs that were on my caladium. And sadly, even after treating with hydrogen peroxide and washing away all the soil and completely treating the bulb and cutting off the leaves that were infected and everything, they came back like crazy recently. There were so many of them, it was disgusting. So I decided, with the advice of Niels from Aroid Jungle, to cut off all the leaves, to dry out the bulb, and to see what it does next year. Because these bugs are super, super hard to get rid of. I know a lot of you commented saying, oh, they're aphids, they're easy to get rid of, you just spray them with dish soap or alcohol or whatever you guys suggested. These guys are the fucking ninjas of aphids, so they're super hard to get rid of. They are like glue, as Nikki from Plants, Pots and Whatnot said to me on Instagram. I decided to do that, to follow his advice, dry out the bulb. It looks really sad. I'll put in a little video of how the bulbs look right now. I'm hoping to dry them out and that way kill the bugs. So I'm just gonna store them. Actually, quite a few of you have asked me about dormancy in caladiums, which I don't know anything about yet because these are my first caladiums ever, but I'm gonna research this before the end of the growing season, and I'll make a video, of course, about it too, how I'm gonna do it. Because it was a beautiful, huge bulb with amazing leaves, so I really, really hope that next year it will grow for me and will not come back with these stupid bugs. In case you didn't know, these bugs can actually live inside the bulb, apparently, which is where they probably came from. Several of you suggested I should disinfect my soil and all that kind of stuff. but I don't because I have them nowhere else apart from in this specific plant. So I'm guessing that they were in the bulb, and that's no hate towards the shop. You cannot know that when you look at the bulb. It was a beautiful big bulb, and I haven't had any issues with any of the other ones. So that's no criticism to you, Daphne. You've been amazing in your help and advice. Let's head upstairs for the last two caladiums, my caladium fantasies from Urban Wilds, which is a grower here in the Netherlands. My two caladium fantasies are doing okay, I guess. They were turning, I don't know if you can see, but this part used to be white and it turned a little bit more green. It got, let me show you on another leaf. It kept getting a little bit more of a, a green haze. So I moved them closer to my south-facing windows, although this also is a risk because they can get easily burnt. These are a little bit floppy. I just watered them again. Here you can see that green stuff a little bit better. It's almost like there's a little green layer of mold on them. See that here? Apparently that can happen when it doesn't get enough light, so that's why I moved them over. Like you can see, this big leaf is a little bit floppy. I just watered them again. Kind of forget them when they are up here a little bit more, so that's a thing. But so far it's putting out a few new leaves. This one I think is new as well. That's still nice and white, as you can see. So I don't know what's the difference. Let me turn this. Here's another huge leaf, and you can see the green. On this one you can actually see it quite well, I think. There we go. So these are sitting in my south-facing window, just hiding a little bit behind the curtains, and I'm holding up the big leaves with a stake so that they don't fall over and snap, because this one actually did snap. Can you see that? I hope so. On the other side, I have the other one. It has a little bit smaller leaves, but it is a lot fuller. So this one had the same experience. The leaves going a little bit greenish, which I want to prevent or reduce. I love the colors here, by the way. There's like purple, pink lines in there. This is beautiful. This was also very floppy this morning, but after I watered it, it completely bounced back. All the big leaves are holding themselves up again. So that's great news. It's happy. This was already here from shipment, or transport, I should say. Here again is the green haze. This one grew in my care and has more of the white. See, you can see a good difference here. So I don't know what's wrong with these bigger leaves. They seem to get the green more than the smaller ones. And then on the back of the big leaves are all of these smaller leaves. There's a ton of them. And there's even more growing. I had about 3 flowers grow in these 2 plants, but I cut them off because I'm not planning to try and make seeds, and I don't want the plant to lose energy. Although that is still debatable. I actually have some very smart plant friends that I learn a lot from, and we were discussing this. Is it useful to cut flowers off if you want to keep the energy in the plant? One of my friends, Georgia, said that the plant has already created the flower, so that costs the most energy, unless, my friend Cynthia says, unless it actually starts to create seeds, and then it will take up a lot of energy again. So according to them, it is not very useful to cut them off. They're not saying that it's bad, but it made me reconsider, because if you think about it, it's pretty logical. When you see the flower, then it's already there, and you can cut it off so it doesn't grow any bigger, but it's already there. So something to think about, even though I did cut off all my flowers. I guess that's just an old habits die hard kind of thing. So yeah, there's a ton of leaves here. There's a ton of leaves coming. Here you can actually see really nicely how the new leaves come out. Whoops, sorry for the leaf. Here there's a tiny, tiny leaf coming out of the stem of the previous leaf. I'm gonna help it out secretly. Don't do that at home. But yeah, that was the flower that I cut off. But that's how they grow. Isn't that cool? I had no idea. Oh, and there's another one that you can see really nicely. The big leaf and then the second one. As you guys know, I am no expert in caladiums. I'm just learning as I go. And so far, it's been pretty interesting. Overall, I really love the colors of caladiums, and actually my boyfriend even likes them because they have such cool different colors. All my other plants are basically green and he calls them all ivy. They're all the same, but these ones are different. But I have noticed that the first leaves have come out really big for me, and then the next leaves are just tiny. I don't know what's up with that. Maybe I'm doing something wrong, or maybe just the first burst of energy is a little bit more strong than the rest of the leaves, but that has been a little bit sad to see. Like, you get one of these leaves first and then you get a lot of tiny ones after. Let me know if you experience that as well, or if there is something that I'm doing wrong that I could be doing better. I would love to hear in the comments, and I would love to hear what is your favorite caladium. What colors, what design do you like the most? I have to say, after the 4 different kinds that I own right now, the Autumn Beauty is definitely my favorite, even though I also love this more chill color. The bright pink and red with green dots is totally my #1 favorite. I'm outside here where I moved my caladiums because my favorite one, the Autumn Beauty, actually got pests recently as well. So I decided to just move them outside, all of them, and see how they do. Because I was told that they actually are quite happy outside in summertime at least. But as you maybe already can see, that wasn't really the case for mine. Let me show you up close. Here we got the small one that actually looks pretty okay. Nothing too bad. There's a few leaves, so it looks quite cute. Actually, I'm surprised with that. The other small one I gave to my mom because she was really in love with these caladium leaves. So that's doing quite well in her care. Luckily, she's a great plant mom and person mom. Then here is my white queen, I think. As you can see, most of the leaves are gone. This one looks okay. And then these ones are just starting to grow again. But it had a bit of a setback for a while. And there's another one here that is dead. The big leaves basically all came off, and all that's left is small new leaves coming out like this. And they're a little bit stuck in opening. So yeah, not the best looking. Then here, that actually might be, I'm not quite sure now. This actually might be one of my fantasies, because here is the other one that looks quite different, and then here is the last one. This looks similar to that one again. So I think this is actually the white queen, because there is an Autumn Beauty growing in here as well, which is what I did when these ones, the fantasy ones, are just one kind in a pot. So yeah, this is the white queen. It looks a little bit horrible. These are the only leaves that are left over right now. Sorry, this is a very depressing end to a very nice video. But I'm hoping they will come back. There are a few cute leaves, but they are very small compared to what it was before. But at least there are no pests right now. So the bugs outside are doing a great job of keeping the pests down. Mostly ladybugs actually that do that job. Here is the other fantasy. This looks a little bit better. There's bigger leaves. A little bit wrinkly and weird looking. This one's a little bit bigger already. And then some new ones here that are much more green. And a few more coming out here. I don't know if you can see, but yeah, all the big leaves that were on this plant have disappeared, have died off. And this is all that's left. And then the same goes for this, my favorite, my Autumn Beauty. The leaves that it had have not fared well outside. Oh, look at that. That's left. That's all that's left of bigger leaves. It is partially the wind, because we live so close to the sea. It's very windy here. And also partially, I think, the unevenness of watering and then drying out and stuff. I've tried to keep them safe, but it hasn't worked very well. And this is mostly wind damage, as you can see, coming off. And this one. But there are new leaves growing that look better. This one as well. That looks okay. Oh, focus. Yeah. And then this cute little one. And this one. There's a pest on there. I don't know what that is, but might just be bird poop. The good thing about plants outside is that the pests don't matter that much because the ladybugs will come and rescue your ass. So that's good. This one looks a little bit stuck from lack of humidity over here. And yeah, this is what a lot of the leaves ended up looking like. Here's another one. Whoops. It might just be of old age though. So yeah, that's what's left. Not super impressive anymore. So I don't know what I'm doing wrong with them, but also I still think they look quite cool out here. So that's good. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. I know it was requested a lot, so I hope this is what you expected of it. I'm just being honest. Nothing is always just perfect going well. Sometimes you just lose a few plants. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!